Good afternoon, friends. Yesterday I gave a preamble of this Robert Greene's another great book, 33 Strategies of War. So today I'll be talking about basically four strategies. The entire 33 strategies, friend Robert Greene has distributed into five heads separate, and they are in consonance of the various principles of war. And they are: first is self-directed warfare, second, organizational warfare, third, defensive warfare, then of course offensive warfare, and lastly he has covered the unconventional warfare. Accordingly, he has put those strategies under these five separate parts. So today we will be talking about the self-directed warfare. You see, he named it this self-directed warfare. What is it actually? It's a war. It's a war or conflict which is waged and won through following a strategy, like series of lines of arrows. They are aimed at a goal or getting you at a certain point in the world, or you can say this is the method of how destroying your opponent or the defeating your enemy. Before directing these arrows at your enemies in a self-destructive warfare, the first part he covers those four strategies, that before you actually apply these strategies on enemy, however, you must first direct them at yourself. Your mind is and in this process, your mind is the starting point of all wars and conflict. To become a trusted or the truest strategist, he suggests that one should take 3 steps before we get into following practicing these strategies, and these steps are very simple. He said, become aware first and foremost. In this world, if you want to survive and you want to be successful, and you are taking lessons from the warfare, since for him the life is nothing but a battlefield, so first become aware of the weaknesses and illnesses that can take a hold of your mind. You should know exactly these things in detail. Second, declare a kind of war on yourself to make yourself move forward. And thirdly, he says, then once you have decided this thing, you have declared war, then wage ruthless and continuous battle on the enemy till you succeed or you finish him fully. Now, if this is the self-directed warfare gist of it, what I have just spoken, the first strategy he talks about is that declare war on your enemies. And this he named it as the polarity strategy. He says that life is endless battle and battles and various conflicts, and you cannot fight effectively unless you can identify your enemy. You can pinpoint your rivals. You know who are your real competitors. If you do not know this, you cannot follow this polarity strategy or fight against them. Learn to smoke out your enemies, to spot them by the signs and patterns that reveal hostility towards you in any form whatsoever. Then, once you have them in your sight, my friend, inwardly declare war. Your enemies can fill you with purpose and direction. Surely they'll guide you every step because they're revealing. Now, the second strategy he talks about, that do not fight the last war, the guerrilla war. First, I said they declare war on enemies. Why? Because he believes that we live in a era of times, the times we are in which people are they are directly hostile to you. They will never have an upfront battle with you. Any upfront battle enemy is rarely seen, or very rare these days. And who is enemy? In modern world, who is enemy? It has been politicized and romanticized and glamorized hell of a lot. Anybody who is not your friend, consider he is an enemy. Enemy means who is not your friend. Strategy 2. Do not fight the last war, I said, the guerrilla war of the mind strategy. What most often weighs you down and bring you misery in the past. You must constantly wage war against the past and force yourself to react in the present. Be ruthless on yourself. My friend, do not repeat the same tried or the tired method to wage guerrilla war on your mind. Allowing no static lines of defense, make everything fluid and mobile. Somebody asked me, what's your policy on guerrilla warfare? I say simple. My policy is have no policy. This is how creativity is sparked and opportunities are seized. My friend, remember, knowledge, experience and theory, they have limitations. But if you are at this point of the action, a spontaneous action and decision, that's what matters. And that's what brings victory and success. The third strategy of war. Amidst the turmoil of the events, do not lose your promise of mind. Do not lose your presence of mind. And he named it as a counterbalance strategy. All effective generals in the history, as they say, a good military, ask any military planner, before going to war, they have hundreds of all contingencies thought of. But the moment you reach the battlefield, the first bullet is fired, the first thing becomes casualties, all your plans, and you are in a brand new situation. And there, it's only the presence of mind applies. And any general, if he can put all his learnings of the warfare at that point of action, molding, adapting to, by application of the presence of mind, he is the winner. The balance. In the heat of the battle, the mind tends to lose. It tends to lose the balance. It is vital to keep your presence of mind, maintaining your mental powers. Whatever the circumstances may be, make the mind tougher by exposing it to the adversity. Learn to detach yourself from the chaos of the battlefield. Just remember, we are not rational creatures at all. Human beings are emotional creatures. Which separates us from the animals is the ability to think and reason. This is I feel it's partly true, not fully true. What actually distinguishes us from animals is, I feel, is the presence of mind, is our capacity to think and reason, is our capacity to laugh and to cry, to feel a range of emotions. No one can teach us, my friend, how to learn the presence of mind. First, you see, if you really want to understand the presence of mind and practice, first you have to feel, to see that there is a need for it. The presence of mind is an actual need. You can have certain exercises if you really want to build up your presence of mind exercises or this skill. And firstly I said, expose yourself to conflicts and difficult situations. Your mind will start functioning. Then it's very important, second factor I said, that unintimidate yourself. Intimidation will always threaten your presence of mind. Don't get intimidated by anything and anybody. Totally intimidate yourself. And then I say, develop the ability to take lightning and quick decision. Don't worry about what is right, wrong, or pashtanga. At least take decision immediately. Don't waste. My friend, the fourth strategy of war, simply he says, create a sense of urgency and desperation. And that he call is the death ground strategy. You are your own worst enemy, remember. You waste precious time dreaming about the future instead of engaging in the present. There is an old saying, too much of analysis leads to paralysis. You keep thinking and you don't act. Death ground is a psychological phenomenon, my friend. There are real pressures on your back at the time, and you just cannot retreat. The time is running out. You must act or suffer the serious consequences. There are few factors will help you or will affect you on building your psychological death ground. That is, first, you have to feel that when you are stuck in a situation where you got to react, first exercise, take everything on a single throw. Don't sulk. On the first thing, put every salvo you have and fire. Stake everything on your single shot. And act before you're ready. Don't wait for your battle drills and readiness. In the world, act immediately. Act before you're ready, I say. Then, enter new waters, new situation, new places. Same repeated situation and repeated solutions application does not sharpen your mind. It does not force your faculties, intellectual faculties to function properly. Make it as this between you or against the whole world, and you got to fight. Keep yourself restless, my friend, and unsatisfied always, and you see how your mental faculties work. Remember, in the entire this self-directed warfare, the author Robert Greene, he is telling it is this entire section. It's like fire. By itself, the fire has no force. It depends on its environment. You give it air, dry timber, and wind to fan the flames, and it gains a terrifying momentum, growing bitter, hotter, feeding off itself, consuming everything on its path, and never leaves such, my friend, never leaves such power to chance. So today I have discussed talked to you regarding 4 strategies under the first part, that is self-directed warfare. Tomorrow I will talk on the organizational, that is team warfare, and his next 4 strategies. Think it over. Thank you very much.